Dear friends, cement industry watchers and readers of Indian Cement Review, we have today with us Mr. Rakesh Sharma. He is the director of AMCL, a capital goods and machinery manufacturing company situated in Nagpur. This company, Mr. Sharma, first of all, has been in the core sector industries for all his life. He has worked with Larsen and Toubro in heavy industries, businesses like non-ferrous metals and power. And then he has also spent some time in ACC, I'm told. But then, you know, every cement guy has some time or the other has spent some time in ACC, isn't it? And also he has spent some time, interestingly, in the glass industry for 6 years. So, and now he is the director in charge of AMCL. So he comes with a very varied and very well diversified experience and background. So welcome, Mr. Sharma, and it's good for us that you could join us today.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee, and it's a good opportunity for me to interact with you, a great eminent personality. Mr. Banerjee, I know you since the days when you were the managing director of ACC.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have been very generous. So we dive straight away into the questions. I think the people who are observing the industry, and particularly the cement industry and the manufacturing industry, are very much interested today, given today's specific special circumstances. They are interested in certain aspects of how things are evolving, and would like to get some signals or some information from you about how things are shaping up. So I'll start the discussion by first asking you to share with us. From 20th April, the lockdown was somewhat relaxed because it was announced that some industries in non-red zones, etc., can operate with some limited manpower, etc. And now, subsequent to that, thereafter, there has been some more relaxations. So, please share with us what is the status of commencement of operations of your factory in Butibori. It's in Butibori, right?
Right, very near to Nagpur.
Yeah, in Butibori and near Nagpur. And what's the status of commencement of operations, and you know, what are the challenges and what are the issues that you are facing, and how are you dealing with those challenges?
Right. First of all, I'll very briefly tell you a little bit about AMCL.
Yes.
It was incorporated in the year 1973 as a joint venture between ACC and Leo Herbert. It's a German company. Thereafter, it was manufacturing rubber and tire machinery and also cement machinery. Then in 2008, ACC decided to sell its stake, and the HNG group came into picture at that time. Thereafter, we have tried to expand the activities in more and more in cement area so that we can provide an alternative equipments to the industry. Yeah. In the meantime, AMCL had various tie-ups with the Japanese company mostly. For example, Kobe Steel for mixers, for Unizawa for special roots blowers, Shinmoya for transit mixer, then Nihon for vertical pre-grinding mills, and now with Ube for vertical grinding mills. This was signed in the last May itself.
Right.
So coming to their question of, you know, how we have faced these problems now due to the lockdown. You know, this Maharashtra has been affected a little more than maybe the rest of the country. Right. So we were allowed to operate only in the end of May. In fact, we got the permission to start the activities on 23rd or 24th. But then this factory was, and the premises was locked for almost more than 2 months. And things were in a very bad shape. Just to clean the premises and bring to a certain level, it took almost 3-4 days. And thereafter, sanitization and spraying various things, disinfectants and all that, it also took time. The idea was to make sure the workplace is safe enough for our workers, for our staff to come in. The next challenge was, of course, selecting the people, because government allowed us to operate at around 50% of the capacity. So we had to select people who are really not affected in any way, or their relatives are not affected in any way by this COVID-19. So we have to screen the people, and out of that, we have taken those people only where we are very sure that they are safe and they will not spread the virus at any cost. With this, we have also called the workers' representatives, and we had elaborate discussions on how to work in these new norms, new situation, where the safety and the well-being of the people is of utmost importance. And of course, and increasing the productivity is equally important. Around 18 SOPs were made for working in the factory, which were explained to them and properly put on the notice boards thereafter. And also to bring people from Nagpur, which is a red zone even now. So we had to take permission to apply special buses. And there also we had to follow certain norms to bring the people, our staff, to the factory. So in fact, we could start only yesterday, 1st June, where we had a first interaction. But then it was a nice interaction where workers were a little anxious and also very happy also to get back to work after so many days. But basic principles every company has to follow is that mandatory checking of the people when they enter, their temperature, etc. And then of course sanitization of hands and all that. And wherever possible, we have to have a touch entry, means the doors have to be kept open most of the time so that people can just go in and go out.
Yeah.
And then of course for workers, staggered lunch time so that they don't come together. It's important for us. Similarly, the shifts also, we have kept a gap of 1 hour. So like this, we are also learning how to make sure that everybody is safe and well-being is taken care of the people. The first few days, I'm sure, is not going to be, the more trust is on keeping the people safe and let them follow the norms rather than going for productivity or production. But by and large, I have seen people have shown their resolve, and they are with the management to make sure that the productivity is increased, the teamwork is enhanced, and they are ready to cooperate in any manner. Like typically, some workers have a feeling not to do this work, and if they are doing machining, they will not come for any other work, sub-assembly, etc. But now people have decided, since the number of people are less, so they have decided to cooperate. So I would say that in general, there is awareness at all levels that somehow we have to move. We have to now proceed ahead. We cannot just stay stagnant. After all, COVID-19, we do not know how long it will continue, and whether it will continue for another 2 months, 3 months, or 6 months, nobody knows about this aspect.
Yeah. So,
however,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, please tell.
However, as far as the people are concerned now, all of us have decided that it's important to enhance the productivity and effectiveness so that with limited number of people, we can at least achieve some level of production.
Yeah, good. So something very interesting came out from what you said is that, and that I am hearing for the first time, although it's a brilliant idea, that all the doors are to be kept open. So it just not only facilitates better ventilation, but also converts kind of a closed space into an open space. And more importantly, I think it avoids people touching the doorknobs and handles and things like that, which are apparently the most infected places normally.
That's very right. That's very right.
So this is a suggestion which I heard for the first time, although I don't know why people have not mentioned it before, to me at least. So good idea. So can you just move on to the another important point, which is to do with What are your order books like? What are your current order books and what are your inquiry leads today, which are of course a reflection of how your order book will shape up in the immediate future? I'm asking this because you service the cement industry in addition to the rubber sector. Uh, so therefore, talking to you, you want to get an idea about how the cement demand is also shaping up, and you supply capital goods to the cement industry, as we all know. So when people come to you for capital goods, for machinery, for equipment, uh, they are either expanding capacity or they are making their capacity more energy efficient, and that means, in one word, they are ready to invest more money into their own plant and equipment. So we want to get a signal from you how that is happening.
See, as far the order book is concerned, we have a fairly good order book. In fact, we have 3 orders for vertical roller pre-grinding mill. This is first time that many people have opted for vertical roller pre-grinding mills to enhance their capacity.
Okay.
So, in fact, one of them is a greenfield plant, which is a good sign that people have a lot of faith in our machines.
Yeah.
The question is, because of the this lockdown, all the activities at their sites also have stopped. For example, civil work has totally stopped. In fact, there's no worker there, and the government has now allowed, but it's very difficult to again collect together the right kind of people to again start building. I'm sure it is going to take another 1 month time before the civil activities start in those particular sites. And obviously, they will not lift the material till the site is ready. It's very obvious, and they have even informed us to some extent. And with the result that the finished goods are lying with us now. It's like a inventory, and as per the payment terms, money can only be received once the goods are dispatched. So this is one big thing. And in the rubber and tire industry, in 1 or 2 cases, even the clients have asked whether they can cancel the order. This was a little surprising to me because obviously the auto industry has been affected badly. There is no sale of cars or vehicles, trucks, etc. So with the result, the tire industry is affected badly, and they are also rolling back their expansion plans. So we have to explain them that things are almost ready. We have purchased, manufactured most of the things, and bought out items are also involved, where our vendors have kept them ready. So it becomes very difficult in such situation when customer wants to uh, cancel the order. So we are passing. I'm sure many other industries are passing through such phases as well. And how to come out of it also, maybe it's a long-term solution where we have to convince them to, maybe sometimes they are ready to share some of the burden, sometimes they are not. So this is going to affect us in immediate terms. However, we are still trying our best to at least serve those customers who are willing to take the materials. Fortunately, cement industry is a little more cooperative, and they are keen that whatever they have ordered, they want to take those materials and finish those projects which are maybe in the semi-finished stage, where the erection is going, where the construction is going on.
Yeah.
So I would say that as far as AMCL is concerned, now that we have some good order backlog, we are able to survive maybe another quarter or so. But thereafter, we also need some more orders. And Ube tie-up, which we had last year, and we had promoted it very well, including the India Cement Review. And we had we had also promoted this mill, which is of course already known to the cement industry. But the idea was to come back with a big bang. But however, because of this lockdown, things are derailed. We have a very good inquiry list. In fact, offers have been submitted and reached to a level where they could have decided. But obviously, with this pandemic, every company wants to conserve their cash flows. and the capex comes in the last. I would say anywhere in the world, the capital good industry suffers the most and recovers the last.
Agreed. I agree with you, and that is why it is very important that we just don't discuss about the sector with the cement players, but also with the capital goods sector, which services the cement sector, and that's why this conversation. So thanks for those inputs, and I summarize from this that. Your current order books are healthy for the plant to carry on manufacturing for the next quarter. But then, although you had a lot of inquiries in the past, those inquiries are not very active today given the current situation. And you will need that the things improve beyond 1 quarter for the operations to continue.
That's right.
Yeah, we get that. Now, on a related subject, we'll come to. You mentioned about your VRM and also pre-grinders, which some of us in the cement sector we are aware of, but we will ask you something about their features, etc. But before we jump into that, I want to ask you something related to the current situation, the order books and the health of the company and cash flow, etc. The government has announced a large amount of stimulus package, which runs into probably some 10% of our GDP and 20 lakh crores of value, of which I am told that about 1 to 2 lakh crore is direct cash benefits, and the rest are by way of credits and moratoriums and deferments and things like that. So you are an example of a not an SME, but a not so large capital equipment company, which is, if I might use the word, which is in distress, just like many other companies. You're not an exception.
Right.
So
right.
how are you? And since we are talking to you, I would like to know on behalf of our readers, how are you benefited specifically by any of these stimulus package items, so that you can tide over the current situation?
See, the government has announced various schemes, and we are keenly watching and studying them. Yesterday also there was an announcement.
Right.
So far, what we understand is, of course, that 20% of the present, whether it's working capital or the term loan which the banks have given, so 20% of that cumulative, the banks are ready to reimburse to the companies with a 12 months of moratorium on the repayment. And this is a very good thing which can happen to tide over the immediate requirement of the cash flow. And to my surprise, the letters were received by from the bank, saying that this you can take. Normally, you have to run after the banks to get any such help. That means there is a genuine efforts by the government to help the medium scale, small scale industry. And and this will be as on 29th February 2020, whatever is your loan at that time on the books.
Yeah.
As per that, they will give 20% of that.
Okay.
And without any guarantees and any such thing.
Okay.
So I would say this would help many of the companies, and I'm sure, of course, we are also going to avail of this
Great
help which the government is going to give us. And other than that, many other things like Provident Fund and all that, which you can deposit after 3 months, 4 months. And there was a scheme, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and where you could settle the old sales tax issues, related issues, service tax related issues.
Yeah.
That has also been deferred. I'm sure it's going to be further deferred. So
Yeah.
those are the kind of reliefs which the government has given,
Yeah.
and which is very helpful to tide over the immediate cash flow. But still, there are certain other payments which has to be given to the municipal, which has to be given to the Gram Panchayats, which has to be given to many other statutory bodies, and they are still to be paid by the industry. No much relief has been given in that regard. maybe the state government has to come forward to help the industry. In fact, state government has not come forward with any such scheme so far.
Yeah, that's an interesting point to note. Although I think an impression has been created. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but an impression has been created that the states' coffers are very much emptied by the fact that there has not been any revenue because of the lack of economic activities. But even then, the states are also able to borrow money from the market given their sovereign status. And I think particularly states like Maharashtra, which are little more strong economically, should be able to come out with some help for the industry and for the farmers.
Yeah, it will be very useful and helpful to the industry.
Yeah, yeah. So thanks. So it's interesting to note that there are, these small things that have come from the government as help are going to be useful to us, and you are going to use them, take advantage of them, and
Sure.
all the best to you. We now go to the other question about your equipment range. See this new. We more people know about your pre-grinders, which were used to some advantage by cement manufacturers in their smaller grinding facilities as an adjunct to the ball mills to increase capacity and save energy, etc., etc., and which I have been a witness. But now you also have the VRM, which is a full-fledged one-stage, grinding instead of two-stage grinding, which pre-grinders entailed. So your range of VRMs being relatively new in the Indian market, I'm saying relatively new in the Indian market compared to the equipment like some of your competitors who are well entrenched in the Indian market. How does your equipment fare in features, in energy efficiency, in giving advantages to the customers? And how are you proposing to leverage these to garner a stronger market share?
Yes, so thank you that you have asked this question. It's very important for AMCL point of view.
Right.
Actually, we have been manufacturing vertical roller pre-grinding mills, and initially ACC plants have used it to the maximum extent. Thereafter, many other companies like Ramco Cement, JK Cement, Sagar Cement have used these machines, and everybody, all the people have agreed and also given in writing to us. The machine, whatever we have manufactured, is very rugged and work has been operating since last 10-14 years without much problems. So we are manufacturing this vertical pre-grinding mill. This is almost like a vertical mill. The only thing it doesn't have is a separator, inbuilt separator. That's all. Otherwise, all the system, hydraulic system, rollers, gearbox, everything is similar, and we are making up to 1800 to 2000 kilowatt machines. So, but at the same time, we were facing tough competition for VRPM vis-a-vis the roller presses, because roller presses have a wide range and also they can also be used for finish grinding, which is not possible with our machines. So the best option therefore for us was to go for vertical mills. And in this connection, we approached Ube and who were very careful, like typical Japanese, and they had almost 5 to 6 visits to our plant. They met various people to decide to go with AMCL. Basically, the whole aspect which they have seen is that we have the manufacturing facilities to completely manufacture the vertical mills, made in India totally, except maybe bearings, which we have to import as of now from Japan or Germany. But other than that, everything else is to be manufactured in India. So that was very encouraging thing. Keeping that in mind, we have decided to go for this arrangement, and this is an exclusive arrangement, which was never the case earlier with Ube. They have never given any exclusive arrangement in India. They have some arrangements, but that was non-exclusive. With this exclusive arrangements, we can sell in India Nepal, Bangladesh, and also in some other parts of the world with prior permission. So Ube is a very, very known name. You may be knowing that the first vertical mill in India was Ube mill, which was supplied in 1984 to Shri Digvijay Cement. And thereafter, the revolution of vertical mills in India was completed. And thereafter, most of the players like Loche, Piper, FL Smith, all they came in. But it was Ube's first mill. Ube has, as of now, 20 mills already supplied in India. And we have checked with all the customers. They are extremely happy with the performance. The major advantage of Ube mill is that there is hardly any vibration. They are very smooth, actually. And they are very sturdy. And it's like once you install the machine, you forget about it. It's like this kind of operation. Other than that, they have now mastered the art of grinding slag. In fact, first slag mill was first made by Ube only in Japan to use slag. And thereafter, they have invented the two roller system, which of course now Loche also use. And then they have mastered the separator technology now, which is very crucial for the efficiency of any vertical mills. Because if the separator is inefficient, you lose a lot of power. So they have made a very special separator system, which we have presented in the last NCBM seminar. And many people have shown interest. Mr. Banerjee, you will be surprised to know that Ube is the only perhaps company who can grind up to 10,000 plane, either slag or cement. Even the wet fly ash, they can grind with their mills. They have that kind of technology. Further, the power consumption wise also, they are comparable, in fact, maybe better than many of the players in India. And we therefore feel that since we are going to manufacture these mills ourselves, of course, strictly as per the Japanese standards, with their inspecting the components themselves, we are very sure that will be cost effective as well. And we have already a good trained staff because of the vertical mills for erection supervision and commissioning, etc. So we are already a step forward to service our clients. In fact, the inquiries which we have received, you'll be surprised that people don't ask us any question now about whether AMCL is going to make it first time, because they have the faith that we will be able to produce these mills. So, sound is not coming.
Sorry, I had muted myself because there was some noise here. So it's a great presentation or talk about your vertical roller mills. Two or three very interesting things for me there. One is that your mills seem to be having more indigenous content and less import content than some of the other mills which are being sold in India, looks like. Secondly, it seems that the fineness capability as well as energy efficiency, your equipment is competitive, very competitive. And thirdly, which to me is probably the most important one, is that statement of yours that your mills are fit it and forget it kind of machines, which tells me that these are highly reliable machines,
Right.
which is extremely important. And a great big differentiating factor, let me repeat, a great big differentiating factor when it comes to VRM performance. And I will urge you to, in the medium term, not just immediately, but in the medium term, to work on a research paper collecting data of reliability of various types of VRMs in India, and get ready with a technical presentation on the subject of reliability, because I would guess that the cement manufacturers in India will be very keen to have a much improved reliability on the grinding.
Surely, I will take your suggestion. And just I wanted to inform you one more thing, that first time Ube has agreed to shift their testing mill to India in our factory, and we'll be able to test all the materials all raw materials, slag, cement, coal, minerals, everything, and give the test results to our customers.
Okay, so looks like over some time, AMCL may become the hub for these VRMs, and Ube may be supplying VRMs from here to the world. What do you say?
That's a very interesting thing which you have said, and this is our aim also. And maybe Ube is also thinking in those lines.
Yeah, right. Okay. So all the best to you for that. So the probably the last question of our discussion, and that is to do with cement sector, not cement capital goods. And you are smack in the middle of the country in Nagpur, which is physically, the center of India.
Center of the India.
Largely. And so you can give us an idea about what's happening in the cement market. What do you feel? I mean, yes, that the coming quarter you have activities, and beyond that you do not see a lot of activities for capital goods. But what do you see for the cement industry, either from infrastructure or from individuals who are building homes, or for rural demand or urban demand, or organized housing or unorganized housing, or industrial projects? What do you see demand picking up its pieces and rising again?
You see, first of all, I was a bit surprised by the government decisions to stop the cement plants as well as steel plants. Steel plants is a continuous operation, and blast furnace is very critical equipment. And the government has even decided to stop them. So that means maybe they have overreacted, or maybe they think it was a genuine. I cannot comment on that. But the fact is, most of the plants were shut down. And now they have decided to let them start again. But at the same time, there is no demand. So most of the companies have started the operation, maybe clinkerization. And as far as the grinding mills are concerned, right now the uptake may be around 30% of their capacity. The reason is the housing sector, the realty sector, the industrial sector is totally standstill. There's nothing the government has done to revive these sectors, neither in terms of allowing them, nor in terms of giving them any benefits or additional loans, etc., like what they have given to MSMEs. Similarly, the infrastructure projects have started, like in metros and roads projects and other projects, which has given some hope to the cement industry. I guess it may reach to 40-50% in next 2-3% time. But then this is a long way. Earlier they were operating 70% or 75%, we were hoping. So there's a long way that they will go up to that extent, maybe another 6-7 months. See, Mr. Banerjee, is like this. If we hope that it will be a V-shaped recovery, nothing like that, but I doubt. I feel it may be a U-shaped recovery. If even that happens, that's a great thing. That means maybe 2 quarters are gone virtually so far. So third quarter is the only thing where we can hope that things will start improving. But at the same time, I feel the cement plant people may opt for some optimizations, some little bit upgradations. May not be the large extent because the plants are not running at a full capacity. Some people have 3-4 kilns, let's say. They may like to stop one and do some upgradation. So there is some potential for some upgradation jobs. I would say the changing the separator, and that also could be a business for a company like us and many others industries. But I would say cement industry will take at least 6 to 8 months to come to a level of 70-75%. This is my take.
Yeah, that corroborates well with the some of the views expressed by analysts that the earliest that the demand pickup can happen in the cement sector probably is January of 2021.
Right.
So let's see how things pan out on that front. Before we sign off, Rakesh ji, can I just ask you, although we are talking on behalf of Indian Cement Review, it is always interesting to know a little bit about some of the other sectors. And since you are very well connected with both rubber and glass because of your past association and your group's involvement, can you tell us in short what's happening in these two industries today, rubber and glass? Because your information on this will be very valuable.
See, as far as the rubber and tire industry is concerned, things are not in a good shape. As unless the automobile industry picks up, nothing much will happen there, and that also I believe will take another 5 to 6 months. See, the government policies on the automobile sector has a great uh, effect on that.
Yeah.
If they decide to give some impetus in terms of reducing the GST and many other things, perhaps the sales will go up. Otherwise, I would say that this industry is going to stagnate for a little more time. As far as the glass is concerned, I would say things are now picking up.
Okay.
The reason being that government is part of the consumable items, fast-moving consumer goods like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, or food, drinks, and all that. And even the hard drinks.
Pharmaceuticals also?
Yeah. We are also supplying to pharma. Glass companies are also supplying to pharma companies.
Yeah.
So their situation is improving actually. The offtake is going up. I would say the glass companies are likely to recover faster as compared to rubber and tire, maybe as compared to cement.
Good. That's very, very interesting. And there is at least some things which are moving faster than others. And we hope that the whole of the economy recovers soon enough. So before we close, I would like to ask you if we have missed anything, or if you would like to give any broad message for our viewers and readers on any subject.
Yeah, I have two things to say. First is my appeal to the cement industry and also in general to all the industry to use Indian equipment and avoid Chinese as much as possible, because maybe we are costlier by 5% or so, but in terms of reliability, in terms of spare parts, in the long term, it could be the same. So this is my earnest appeal to all the people. And we in AMCL are really looking forward to it because we are going to manufacture most of the things in India. Secondly, I'm thankful to India's Cement Review. They're doing a great job in reaching out to people and also educating them in various ways. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I can't resist the temptation of adding that what you said just now about preferring indigenous equipment and over imported equipment, even if they're slightly costlier, but in the long term they will turn out to be on life cycle cost basis. They'll turn out to be more competitive, and that sort of works very well with the current emphasis of the government about an independent India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? So your advice is very timely. Thank you very much, Mr. Sharma, and look forward to meeting you again over in person and over such discussions in future.
Thank you, Mr. Banerjee. It was really nice to interact with you.